Hi, I have been hearing so much about people who are coming to me and saying, I'm just overwhelmed. I can't think straight. I have so much stress. I'm not sleeping at night. My anxiety is getting worse. My depression is getting worse. And so I am jumping on here to give you guys a couple of tools and techniques to help really build your resilience capacity so those things don't take you down. And so I'm going to do a quick video on just a few tips here. Number one is when we want to build our resilience, we say that resilience is the capacity, how much capacity you have to prepare for, recover from, or adapt in the face of stress, adversity, or challenge. If we're feeling burnt out, overwhelmed, and not sleeping, our capacity for resilience is like this. We have to build that capacity so when we hit those depleting moments, we don't go down. We don't go spinning out of control and thinking negative thoughts and just feeling like we've got to leave work early because we just can't seem to bounce back. So I want to share something with you guys real quick is that when we talk about resilience and the capacity, we as human beings, we are energy systems. We expand and we renew energy constantly. And the best way for us to help renew our energy is to get adequate sleep. Sleep and food is the way that we get a lot of our energy right now. But when we learn to build our resilience capacity, when we learn how to do that from the inside out during the day, when we hit those energy or energy depletions or maybe even emotionally depleting areas in our lives, how do we turn that off, switch it around, and start to build our energy? So I'm going to share with you guys I'm actually going to share my screen because I think a lot of people, we learn visually. So I'm going to talk real quickly about the domains of resilience. We have four primary domains of resilience. Physical, we all know what that is, right? If you want to increase your endurance or go for a run, or maybe you're training for a 10K event, you got to build that endurance up. So you practice that, you build your physical endurance. Let's look at the mental domain. We look at the mental domain. That is our attention span. I know so many people that say, I don't have attention span anymore. Something will happen. It's like squirrel. They look somewhere else. We've got our text messages, or WhatsApp, or Telegram, or LinkedIn messages, or Facebook Messenger. We're being bombarded constantly. The key for mental resilience is to build that attention span and to also be able to see things from multiple points of view. Let's look at the emotional domain. The emotional domain is being able to self-regulate. What does that mean? That means emotional intelligence. If you are feeling a depleting emotion like frustration, anger, or fear, and you're able to self-regulate and move that emotion into peace, calm, love, or joy, that is emotional intelligence. Being able to shift emotions without getting stuck inside of this downward spiral. Which, by the way, we literally can become addicted to emotions, addicted to frustration, anger, worry. I'm going to do a whole separate series on that, so stay tuned for that. And really, emotional is being able to have a positive outlook. Then we have the spiritual domain. And the spiritual domain is being tolerant of other people's points of view or their religious preferences. And then commitment to your values. If you have a particular spiritual value, can you stay committed to that? So when we look at these four main domains of resilience, I'd just like to ask you, what do you think has the most influence on the others? Does physical, if you're out of physical alignment, does that have more influence on the others? Or maybe it's spiritual, mental, or emotional? Well, I will tell you that it's the emotional domain. That if we are in a depleting emotion, frustration, anger, worry, fear, if we're in those kind of emotions, it affects us so much more in all the other domains. And here's why. The reason being is because when we're out of sync emotionally, emotion is energy in motion. Energy in motion, right? If you're frustrated, that's running through your body. That's the energy. And I will tell you, this is scientifically proven that our brains will auto-suggest thoughts equal to our emotional state. Feeling frustrated, you're going to think thoughts that are frustrating. Feeling angry, you're going to think thoughts that are equal to the feeling of anger. And you can get stuck in this cycle. feeling, thinking, thinking, feeling. You've got to get off that hamster wheel. So one of the quickest ways to get off that hamster wheel is to know, what emotional soundtrack am I playing? So just ask yourself right now as you're listening to this, how am I feeling emotionally? Are you feeling frustrated? Are you feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, anxious? Or maybe for some of you, you're feeling great, you're feeling happy, you're feeling enthusiastic. The key is to cultivate your emotional soundtracks. Tune in to a renewing emotion, peace, love, joy, happiness. When you can tune into that like a car radio, you're tuning into a frequency 95.5 FM. What is that for you? Is that joy? Maybe for somebody else, it's going to be 98.2, and that frequency may be calm. Maybe for another person, it's going to be 99.7, the frequency of love. So choose your frequency, because your emotional feeling, that frequency, has the biggest impact on all the other 4 domains. So I'd love for you guys to put in the chat below, what is the frequency that you're going to tune into this week?